My soon-to-be fiancée secretly planned a reunion getaway with her ex the week after our wedding. At our engagement dinner, I got down on one knee and proposed we cancel. Then I handed both our families her full itinerary. She was left frantically trying to explain her other honeymoon while I walked out without looking back. I was just looking for the damn car warranty. It was a Sunday afternoon, and the rain outside had started to tap against the windows like a metronome. I was crouched in front of our shared filing cabinet, trying to find the folder for the truck's extended coverage. Eliza had insisted she filed it under W, but of course it wasn't there. Typical. I muttered under my breath and opened the bottom drawer, half expecting nothing useful until I saw her work laptop, slightly ajar, glowing with a soft blue light. Eliza usually kept it in her bag, zipped up tight, like it might explode if someone else even glanced at it. But today, it was open, humming quietly, like it wanted to be seen. I should have shut the drawer. Should have minded my own business. But curiosity pulled at me like a loose thread. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I just wanted to feel connected to her again. The screen showed her email, still signed in. A calendar invite was open. At first, it didn't register. It was an itinerary. Renew and relax, 6 nights at Halcyon Springs Resort, itinerary confirmation. I frowned. That was our dream spot. The place we used to joke about saving for after the wedding, once we had time and money and no more RSVPs to chase. We'd bookmarked it together last winter. My stomach twisted. I scrolled down. Guests, Eliza D. and Jason M. Jason, her ex. The one she'd always said was a closed chapter, the one who still popped up in old photos she never bothered deleting. The same guy whose name she used to flinch at when my sister brought him up by accident. The travel dates? 6 days after our wedding. I sat back, suddenly ice cold. This wasn't a work trip. This wasn't a mix-up. This was a fully planned, carefully arranged, post-wedding vacation with the one person she swore she was done with. Our honeymoon dream, repurposed for betrayal. The heartbeat in my ears drowned out everything else. I clicked through her emails, hand steady but my vision tightening at the edges. Dozens of messages. Bookings. Shared playlists. Outfit planning. Inside jokes. They'd been planning this for weeks. Maybe longer. And all the while, she kissed me goodnight like nothing was wrong. Asked about napkin colors. Held my hand during menu tastings. Looked me in the eye. She was lying through her teeth. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I didn't slam the laptop shut and demand answers. Instead, I opened a folder on my own computer. I started printing. The itinerary. The emails. The confirmation codes. I clicked Save as PDF with robotic precision. If she was going to build an escape plan behind my back, then I was going to build one, too. Not of heartbreak, but of consequence. This wasn't going to be a messy fight. It was going to be a controlled demolition. And I was already laying the charges. I was done playing the fool. Now I was just waiting for the curtain to rise. For the next 4 days, I became an actor. Not a great one, maybe, but good enough. Good enough to smile at the right times. Good enough to say, I love you, without letting the words sour in my mouth. Good enough to fool the woman who was busy planning a honeymoon with another man. Eliza didn't notice. She sat on the couch every night with her laptop and a blanket draped over her legs, obsessing over flower arrangements and guest list color coding. She asked me to double-check the table numbers, and I nodded like I was right there with her. Do you think your Aunt Marcy would prefer to sit near the bar or the dance floor? She asked one night, her voice cheerful and bright. I looked up from my phone. Probably the dance floor. She's bringing those orthopedic shoes this time. Eliza laughed, the kind of laugh that used to make my chest feel warm. Now it just made me cold all over. I watched her for a second too long, and she noticed. What? Nothing, I said. You just look happy. She reached over and gave my hand a little squeeze. I am happy. I can't believe it's finally happening. Yeah, me neither. Later that night, while she was brushing her teeth, I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out the manila envelope from my nightstand. Inside, 32 pages of emails, itineraries, and travel confirmations. Everything I'd printed since finding her little secret. I thumbed through the top page. Subject line, so excited for us. Every time I felt my hands shake, I reminded myself why I was doing this. This wasn't revenge. This was the truth, finally presented in a language even her smug little spa calendar couldn't spin. I had to time it right. For days from now was the engagement dinner, the big families meet and celebrate night. Private room at an upscale restaurant in downtown Sacramento, 10 people on each side, 2 toasts planned, 1 slideshow. She had no idea that the slideshow would end with something a little more candid. I copied the key documents to a flash drive and stuck it in the inside pocket of my suit jacket, just behind the lining. I made backup printouts and stashed them in my car's glove compartment. I wasn't taking chances. During the days, I kept up appearances. I went with her to pick out the seating chart display. I helped her mother decide between champagne ivory and blush ivory napkins. I even stood in front of the mirror with her, practicing the toast we'd both be giving. Marcus is my best friend, she said, eyes shining as she read from her note card. And the love of my life. I fought to keep my jaw from clenching. When it was my turn, I held her hand, smiled, and read my part. Eliza has always made me feel like the luckiest man alive. And she had. Until she didn't. That night, as she drifted off beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The evidence was ready. The plan was in motion. And the countdown had begun. The restaurant smelled like lavender and warm bread, fancy in that clean, expensive way that tells you to watch your elbows. The private room was set up exactly how Eliza wanted. Long table with white linens, candles flickering in the center, little gold place cards at every seat. I showed up in a charcoal suit she picked out, with the ring box she expected in my coat pocket. Only it didn't hold what she thought it did. Everyone was already there when we walked in. Her parents, Robert and Jane, stood up to hug us. Her dad gave me the same stiff handshake he always did. Her mom pulled me close and whispered, "You're so good for her." My sister, Lauren, sat near the end with her husband. She gave me a curious look, a slight furrow in her brow like she knew something was off. I didn't smile back. I didn't trust myself to. Eliza floated around the room like a bride in waiting. She looked perfect. Hair pinned up, pearl earrings, cream-colored wrap dress. She laughed too loudly at her brother's jokes and kept checking her phone like she was waiting for a congratulatory flood that hadn't come yet. Halfway through the meal, somewhere between the lamb and the creme brulee, I tapped my glass with a fork. The room fell quiet. Everyone turned toward me with expectant smiles. Eliza reached for my hand under the table and squeezed it. First, I began, standing slowly. "Thank you all for being here. It means a lot to both of us." Eliza beamed. "I've been thinking a lot about love lately," I said. "What it means to trust someone, to build a life together, to plan a future." Robert nodded. Jane dabbed her eyes. Lauren tilted her head slightly, not blinking. "I thought I had that," I said, looking down at Eliza. "For a long time, I truly believed we had something honest, something real." Her hand tightened on mine, then loosened. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out the box. The room collectively held its breath. I dropped to one knee. A couple of people gasped. Eliza's jaw fell open, eyes wide with glittering surprise. I opened the box. Inside was a flash drive. Murmurs rippled through the room. Eliza blinked. "What is this?" she asked softly. I stood. "This," I said, placing the box gently on the table in front of her, "is your itinerary. The spa resort. The honeymoon trip you booked with Jason." Someone coughed. Someone else dropped their fork. Her mother looked from me to Eliza, confused. "Jason." I reached behind the seat and pulled out the manila envelope. Also included, your email thread about matching swimsuits, the private suite upgrade, and the massage for two package. All scheduled for 6 days after our wedding. Eliza's lips parted, but no sound came out. I walked around the table, handing printed copies to each person like I was distributing a syllabus. "Marcus," she said, voice cracking. "This is a mistake. Jason booked that for a friend, and he used my name by accident." "Sure he did." I kept my voice calm. "And you accidentally made a shared playlist called Just Us Again." Her brother shifted in his chair. "Wait, you're serious?" "Dead serious," I said. "I thought tonight would be a good time to clear the air. Since everyone's here. Since we're all about to become family." Eliza stood now, cheeks flushed. "You're embarrassing me." "No," I said. "You did that all by yourself." The silence was unbearable. My sister finally whispered, "Jesus." Eliza reached for my arm, but I stepped back. "There's no wedding," I said to the room. "There never was. Not after this." And I walked out. Nobody followed. The text started before I even made it home. First it was Eliza. "Eliza, you're being cruel. This isn't how adults handle problems. Eliza, please pick up. Just talk to me. Eliza, you blindsided me. I didn't deserve that. Eliza, I never even slept with him, Marcus. I swear." By the time I pulled into my driveway, I had 17 unread messages, 3 missed calls, and 1 voicemail where she cycled through sobbing, bargaining, and a tone that sounded suspiciously close to rage. I didn't reply. I left my phone face down on the kitchen counter and opened a beer. My hands were still steady, but something inside me was vibrating, like my nerves hadn't caught up with the reality yet. I had done it. I had really done it. The next morning, I woke up to even more. This time from her maid of honor, Tessa. "Tessa, you had no right to humiliate her like that. That was evil. Tessa, you're acting like some petty man-child. You could have just called off the wedding privately. Tessa, congrats. You made it all about you." I stared at the screen for a moment, then hit block. Funny how none of them had anything to say about the lies. About the betrayal. About the fact that Eliza was planning to leave me for her ex while I was picking out his Amherst towels. My sister called around noon. I answered that one. "Marcus," she said, voice low. I don't even know what to say." "You don't have to," I told her. You were there. She hesitated. Are you okay? Yeah. And surprisingly, I was. I think I'm still in that numb place. But I'm not sorry. You shouldn't be, she said quickly. What she did, God. And in front of her parents? I mean, their faces. I leaned against the kitchen counter and closed my eyes. They knew something was off. I saw it in her mom's expression. She's been calling our house, you know, Lauren added. Looking for you. Crying. Then yelling. Then crying again. Let her. Do you think she'll try to spin it? Absolutely, I said. I'm sure she already is. But that's why I kept the evidence. Why I printed it, saved it, backed it up in the cloud. I wasn't going to let her rewrite the story into something soft and convenient, like we just grew apart or he got cold feet. I told my sister the same thing I had told myself every night for the past 4 days. The truth's ugly, but it's mine. And I'm not letting anyone bury it. After we hung up, I poured the rest of my beer down the sink. I had a long list of things to clean up, but I wasn't cleaning up after Eliza anymore. That job was finished. I waited 2 more days before emailing Eliza about the apartment. Subject line, deposit and exit logistics. I kept it cold and simple. No greetings. No emotion. Just facts. As you know, I paid the full $3,000 security deposit when we moved in. I'll be contacting the landlord to initiate the lease exit process. If you'd like to remain, you'll need to reapply as a solo tenant. I've already removed my name from the utility accounts effective this Friday. She replied 6 hours later. Eliza, I can't believe this is how you're choosing to be. I've lived here too. I've built my life here. Don't act like I'm a squatter. I didn't respond. The next morning, I called the landlord. Told him everything he needed to know, minus the cheating part. Just that we were separating, and I wanted my name off the lease. He was professional. Said she'd need to requalify on her own and that he'd process the security refund once the place was fully vacated or re-signed. When I hung up, I logged into every account I had ever paid for: Netflix, HBO, Spotify, Wi-Fi, water, gas, electric, trash pickup. Click, click, click. Cancelled. Transferred. Finalized. She texted again that night. Eliza, the Wi-Fi's down. What the hell? I'm still living here. Eliza, seriously? I can't even stream music now? Eliza, is this really necessary? Yes, it was. I wasn't going to keep funding the life she planned to share with someone else. By the 4th day, little signs began to appear that Jason had been spending time in the apartment. A bottle of bourbon on the counter. Eliza never drank bourbon. A pair of running shoes at the door that weren't mine. The thermostat set to 74, something she used to call wasteful when I did it. I stopped by once to grab the last of my things. She wasn't home, but his duffel bag was there, open on the floor, half-packed with clothes. The two of them were already playing house. That same night, I reset every password tied to me. Amazon? Gone. My personal laptop that I had let her borrow when hers broke? Wiped remotely. Even the streaming profiles, the ones she renamed to Us, the ones with her stupid Spa Mix playlist, deleted. I changed the Wi-Fi router login for good measure. That last part wasn't petty. It was about boundaries. Clean lines. Real detachment. She wanted a fresh start? Good. She could build it from scratch like the rest of us. The next day, I sent her a final note. Eliza, all financial responsibilities previously shared are no longer your right or my burden. Any belongings left behind will be considered forfeited by Friday. I'll be returning the mailbox key and FBs to the leasing office by then. Don't contact me again unless it's about the deposit. Marcus. No sign-off. No warmth. Just clarity. I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. Jason reached out 3 days later. It came in the form of a text, no greeting, no context, just this. Jason, you need to stop. This is borderline harassment. I stared at it for a full minute before I laughed. I hadn't said a word to him. I hadn't posted anything. I hadn't contacted anyone from his life. Not yet. But I figured Eliza must have told him I'd found everything. Maybe he was just preemptively swinging, trying to make me feel like the bad guy for, what? Catching them? I texted back. Me, you sure you want to accuse me of harassment? Might want to ask Natalie what she thinks about that. No reply. For a while. Then, Jason, don't bring her into this. This has nothing to do with her. There it was, the crack. So I pushed. Me, 6-night spa getaway with your ex confirmed reservations. Shared playlists. Kinda seems like it has everything to do with her. Still nothing. I waited until nightfall before I sent the email. Simple and neat. Subject, important, Jason and Eliza's trip. Attachments. PDFs of the itinerary, the emails, the booking receipts, the matching robe purchase. I even screen capped a note where Eliza had written, "You always knew me better than he did." The message was addressed to Natalie. I didn't write much in the body, just, I figured you deserve the truth from someone who's not trying to manipulate you. I sat with it for 5 full minutes, hovering over the send button. It felt messy, heavy, but not wrong. And then I clicked it. For a week, I didn't hear anything. Not from Jason. Not from Natalie. Not from Eliza. The silence was its own answer. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, I got a reply. Natalie, thank you. He told me everything. I kicked him out last night. I had no idea. I deserved to know. So did you. Short. Final. That was all I needed. I didn't reply. I didn't gloat. I didn't forward the message to anyone or screenshot it for proof. This wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about making sure truth didn't drown in their denial. About making sure someone, anyone, on that side of the fence understood I hadn't imagined the betrayal. I didn't need to burn their lives down. All I had to do was turn on the lights. The first bill came in like clockwork. A brown envelope in the mail with a red logo and bold black letters. Furniture Leasing Solutions, statement enclosed. I almost tossed it straight in the trash. But something made me open it. Maybe curiosity. Maybe a desire to feel the final weight of all the things I was about to let go of. Inside, $147.62 due for the premium furniture package, the same one Eliza insisted we get when we moved in together. It'll make the place feel like home, she'd said, spinning around in the showroom like she was auditioning for HGTV. I'd signed the paperwork. The monthly auto payments came from my account. I hadn't thought twice about it until now. I logged into the portal and checked the terms. 5 months left. Total owed, just under $740. Enough to sting. I called the finance office. Yes, the woman on the line confirmed it's all under your name. But if you stop making payments, the items will be flagged for repossession. So she'd have to return them? I asked. Not exactly. We'd schedule a pickup. But yes, they'd be removed. And it affects my credit? Yes, sir. Missed payments will be reported. I stared at the kitchen counter, where my phone rested against a stack of other breakup paperwork. My name scratched off utility bills, insurance documents, a canceled gym membership. All remnants of the life we built together. She and Jason were likely still sitting on the leather sofa I picked out. Still eating dinner on the reclaimed wood table I financed. Still sleeping on the mattress I'd researched for weeks to make sure it wouldn't wreck her back. No, not anymore. I'm not paying another dime, I said. The woman on the phone paused. You're sure, sir? Very. I hung up and exhaled. It felt irrational at first. Why hurt my own credit score over a few $100? But then I pictured Jason sitting there with his feet up, surrounded by all the comfort my money had bought, acting like he belonged. And I realized, paying the bill would be like paying rent in someone else's fantasy. So I let it go. 2 weeks later, Eliza texted me. Eliza, some guys showed up about the furniture. What the hell is going on? Eliza, they're saying everything's being taken back? I didn't answer. Later that night, I got a photo from her, a grainy, half-lit shot of the empty living room. The rug was still there, but the couch and chairs were gone. The TV stand too. Just shadows where they used to be. No caption. Just the image. I stared at it for a while, then deleted it. She'd have to sit on the floor now. Eat takeout off her lap. Sleep on whatever Jason managed to drag in from Craigslist. The cozy world she'd built on my dime was crumbling. And for once, I wasn't footing the bill. The courthouse smelled like bleach and old paper. I sat alone on the left side of the courtroom bench, a neatly labeled folder on my lap. Small claims, Marcus Delaney versus Eliza Drew. Inside were receipts, email confirmations, serial numbers, and photographs of the items in question, a 65-inch TV, a surround sound system, and the mattress I had spent almost $1,000 on after her back started acting up. The total claim was just over $2,300. Not petty, not revenge. Just me recovering what I could. Things I'd bought. Things she refused to give back or reimburse. She showed up late, wearing all black, hair pinned up, eyes behind oversized sunglasses like she was expecting paparazzi. She didn't look at me as she sat down across the aisle. Her lawyer, or friend who knew the system, judging by his scuffed shoes and nervous energy, leaned in and whispered something. I didn't care. The clerk called our case, and we stepped up. The judge, a middle-aged woman with sharp cheekbones and no patience for theatrics, peered at our paperwork and motioned for us to begin. Eliza Drew, she said, tapping her pen, you filed a counterclaim for emotional distress in the amount of $5,000. Please explain. Eliza cleared her throat. Yes, Your Honor. Marcus intentionally embarrassed me in front of my family, sabotaged my wedding, and has continued to pursue legal action as a form of retaliation. I've suffered real emotional damage. The judge raised an eyebrow. Did he threaten you, Ms. Drew? Engage in harassment or public defamation? No, she said quickly. But he humiliated me. The judge blinked. So, he told the truth? Eliza looked stunned. I mean, yes, but that's not harassment, the judge said flatly. That's disclosure. You don't get emotional damages because someone stopped protecting your secrets. I almost smiled. Mr. Delaney, the judge turned to me. Do you have proof of purchase for the items you're seeking reimbursement for? Yes, ma'am, I said, sliding the folder across the table. Receipts, serial numbers, and original delivery confirmations. Everything was purchased in my name. I also submitted text where she agreed to hang on to them temporarily until she could get on her feet. That was 4 months ago. The judge skimmed through the documents, then looked up. Do you dispute ownership, Ms. Drew? Eliza folded her arms. He gave me those things as part of our life together. That's the risk people take in relationships. The judge didn't flinch. Risk doesn't mean forfeiture. You don't get to keep the gifts and cry foul after the breakup when your name's not on anything. Eliza said nothing. Judgment in favor of Mr. Delaney for the full amount, the judge declared. Counterclaim dismissed. Bang. Just like that. Eliza stormed out without a word. I stayed seated for a moment longer, letting the quiet of the courtroom settle around me. No victory dance. No deep satisfaction. Just finality. I picked up the folder and left. On the steps outside, I texted Lauren. It's done. She lost. She replied with a single word. Good. And for the first time in months, I believed it. 6 months later, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment above a bakery that opened at 6 every morning. The smell of cinnamon rolls and fresh bread woke me up before my alarm. I didn't mind. The space was small, no dining room, no laundry hookups, no balcony with a view. But it was mine. I'd filled it with furniture I bought with my own cash. Not from a lease, not from a showroom Eliza insisted on, not part of some curated lifestyle. Just solid, simple pieces I actually liked. The couch had a small coffee stain from when I fell asleep holding a mug during a late-night documentary binge. The kitchen table only seated 2, but that was fine. Most nights, it was just me and takeout. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt honest. I kept a framed photo of my sister and me on a shelf near the window. It was from before any of this, before the wedding, before Eliza's name turned into a memory I stopped flinching over. One Saturday, I went through my old email and finally archived the folder I'd labeled Eliza evidence. That had been my safety net for a while, like if I didn't hold on to it, I might forget she really did all that. But I didn't need it anymore. The truth had done its job. I'd heard through my sister that Eliza and Jason didn't last. 2 months, tops. Apparently once the fantasy faded, they realized they had nothing in common besides a talent for sneaking around. He didn't have a job. She didn't have a plan. I guess it's easier to chase something behind closed doors than to actually live with it in the daylight. It didn't feel like revenge. It didn't feel like karma. It just felt inevitable. I took a solo trip in April. Just packed a bag and drove up to Mendocino, one of those coastal towns that always look too quiet to be real. I stayed at a small inn near the cliffs. No spa package. No matching ropes. Just silence, wind, and the Pacific crashing below. One morning, I stood outside with a coffee in both hands, wrapped in a sweatshirt that didn't match anything. And I heard my dad's voice in my head, something he said to me years ago after a bad breakup. You didn't dodge a bullet, son. You disarmed a bomb. At the time, I didn't get it. Now I did. All those months I spent planning a future with someone who'd already packed their parachute. I wasn't escaping something small. I was walking away from something that could have destroyed me if I let it. I took another sip of coffee, watching the waves roll in. This was peace. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet. And real.